In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a typing animation with just JavaScript. Over here, I have an empty HTML, JavaScript, and a CSS file, and we're going to start by creating the button. And to do that, we have to use this image shortcut for our HTML, and for our body, we're going to create the button, and I'm just going to right click me here, and it's also going to have an on click, and for the name, let's just write typing animation. There we go. And under the button or over the button, doesn't matter. You can put the text wherever you want. But in my case, I'm just going to make it an H1. You can make it a paragraph, an H5 if you want. It doesn't matter. But it has to have an ID of typing, EL, or another ID that you're going to remember. And it's not going to have any text because we're going to be setting the text with our JavaScript. I almost forgot to do the most important thing, which is to link my other files. So let's link the CSS one first and then the JavaScript. Source main.js, there we go. And I'm going to style my button a bit in my H1, but if you don't want to do it, then you can just skip to the JavaScript part. Let's actually add a class to this button so we can select it. Let's name it typing btn. I'm going to copy it. Let's go back to our styles.css. Let's select it. Let's start with the background color. I'm going to set it to white for now. We're going to change it to something darker later. The padding is going to be 20 pixels, and then let's set it to 50. Font size, let's set it to 20 pixels. Let's set the border to none, and also the cursor to pointer. Now for the background color, we're going to set it to something a bit darker so we can actually see it. Let's add a border radius of let's do 6 pixels, and now let's select our H1 here, and it has an ID of typing EL. Let's go back here. It's an ID. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the font size to something. Let's actually just do 40 pixels. That should be good enough. Let's go back and see what it looks like. And I think I'm going to change the font size to something a bit bigger. Let's do 25 pixels and probably like 15 here. Looks a bit better. And now let's do some JavaScript. Now let's do the JavaScript, and it's not too complicated, so it shouldn't take too long. And we're going to start by creating this variable I, which we're going to use in an if statement later on. And under we're going to create the text I want it to be written in our H1, or in my case, the H1. I'm just going to write hello world. Under it, we're going to write this right here, so the name of this onClick function. And I'm going to use an arrow function. And if you want to use the basic one, then you can. Doesn't matter. And now inside of this function, we're going to use this if statement with our I. So if I is smaller than text.length, then the code inside of it is going to execute, and we're going to select our H1, or the element that want it to be animated. So document.query selector. It has an ID of typing EL, and we're going to set the inner HTML to equal to text.char at, and then the I here. And this is actually going to be a plus equal to. And under it, we're going to actually increase the value of I. And the last thing, we're going to set a timeout for our function here. So typing animation. And then here we're going to write the amount of milliseconds for the animation. So for every letter, it's going to take 60 milliseconds to appear. And this is going to be it for the JavaScript. Let's go back now and see if it works. So if I go back and click it, then you can see that the animation works pretty well. And because there isn't too many letters here, we can set this to something longer. So let's try 100 milliseconds. And you can see that it takes longer here for the animation to work. Now let's see what happens when I change this text to something a lot longer. And I'm going to set the timeout here to 25 milliseconds, so it wouldn't take too long for the animation to work. And if I click it, then you can see that the animation works pretty well. So all you have to do is just play around with the timeout and see what works better for you. And this is going to be for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, leave a comment down below if you have any video requests, and see you next video.